All right. All right. I think we're ready. I think so. Let's do it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we are this evening, and we are going to paint some nice, beautiful autumnal leaves. There they are up there. There's what I used as a reference photo. I've drawn mine a little bit differently. I've kind of spaced them out so that they're a little bit overlapped. I think it makes for, just a little bit more interesting picture. Today, supplies I'm going to be using this piece of paper, which is, from the feel of it, this would be Strathmore windmill paper, 140 pound wood pulp paper. I'm switching my brushes up today. I'm using mostly my Da Vinci paint brushes. These are sable brushes. I just want to do something a little bit different, and when I need to paint a larger area, not that I would paint an area large enough that I would need this, but I've got some Danube Artist Quill brushes here. So there are those. Hello, fun stuff. Thank you for joining me, and thank you after last week's episode, the contribution to the coffee fund, very much appreciated. So that's it. The paints I'm using are the studio set that I've been using before. Let me set those off to the side and see if I can't get them positioned somewhere on there, somewhat close to being right. You keep showing up early from confusing the time zones. Oh, I do that all the time. I talk to my mother. She's in a different time zone, and we're always confused going back and forth. So you're in good company. Dame Cupcake, thank you for joining me. Okay, so as I'm going to do this, I'm going to try to do, I've got 4 leaves here. I'm going to try to do all 4 of these slightly differently, and we're going to see how that works. So one of these 4, I'm just going to pick one when I start. I'm going to do all in one shot. It's going to be one layer. I'm going to get all the colors on here the way I want. Then I'm going to let it dry, and we'll basically be done with that. Then I'm going to go to the next one, and I'm going to put a layer of paint on, and I'm going to let that dry. And then I'm going to come back and put another layer of paint on, highlighting or low lighting, intensifying the colors in those areas that I want to. And I'm going to draw in the stem and the veins. The next one, I'm going to do the same as the one previous. I'm going to put one wash on. Then I'm going to come back and intensify the areas that I want intensified. But I'm not going to paint on the veins, so we'll be able to see that. And then the last one, whichever it is, I'm not going to paint the veins as a single vein. I'm going to do just a layer upon layer, a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit here. I think it's going to be a little bit different. Dana, what size paper am I using? This is, once again, 9 by 12 paper that I have cut down from a larger block. Whoop. And it's the Wind Power, or what I've been calling windmill paper, made by Strathmore. There we go. So let's get started with it. I think I'm going to start with this leaf right here. And thanks for all the bonus content this week. What bonus content? Oh, I put out 2 videos. Are you talking about my 2 videos I put out? I've got a backlog of videos, and I really need to do something about them. I'm going to put one more out on Friday, 2 days from now. I'm going to put another one out, and it's going to have a specific theme, and that's why I'm putting it out on Friday. Give me 1 second. I got to get my glasses here. Okay, sorry about that. They're on the other side of the studio. Some days I totally forget about it. I'm pre-wetting this. I don't need to pre-wet this. I don't know necessarily why I'm pre-wetting it, but it's going to help the paints all flow around a bit better. And I guess I should look to see. I drew the 4 leaves that are up there in the corner in a bit of a different way than are on the reference photo that you all see. And so if I'm kind of trying to be honest about it, I've got to look up there and figure out which one this is. And this looks to me to kind of be that purplish one. It's got some nice yellows down in the corner that I'm painting here. And up on this side, some nice browns and purples. Maybe we'll work some reds in there if we can, if we have time to do that. I'm actually leaning down quite far. My head is about, this far off the table, so I can see exactly where I need to continue to wet the paper and where it's already been wet. There we go. Yes, so the 2 videos this week I put out, let's see, that's right, I put out a beta fish, which I really liked. And I'm so happy that little fish, he got sold on eBay not long after I put him up on eBay. And I just put him up. I didn't know that he would sell. I figured there are quite a lot of people that like betas. They're awfully popular, and so I just thought, well, I'll put him up there and we'll see how it goes. And it actually went pretty well. I'm totally excited about that. But what I like even more than that, I should say, I'm starting down here with, what am I using here? This is Gamboge, which is a nice warm yellow. And up here, I'm putting in Maroon Paraline. I know I said this was a nice purplish color that you could see there. But I'm going to cheat just a little bit. I'm going to make it red. A dull fall red color here. Not a bright like a fire engine red or anything like that, but this guy's lost a little bit of life here, and so the green is all run out. It hasn't lost so much that he's turned brown yet, but a little bit of red in there. Congrats on the sale. How cool. It is cool. But what's even cooler than that is I liked him so much, that little beta fish, that I actually put him on a t-shirt, and I have him in my Teespring store. I haven't made any sales there yet. I'm not ruling it out. But for me, I thought it was pretty neat to have him on a t-shirt out there. Okay, so this is the one I'm going to try to do all in one shot here. So what I'm going to try to do is keep this entire, I'm going to take the yellow out even further. This is the trick here, or this is a trick if you're trying to do some really wet into wet stuff, you want to really learn. I'm going to say this like I'm an expert in everything. If you really want to learn how to paint wet and wet, this is how you have to do it. Well, it's not really how you have to do it. There's no dead set way that you have to do it, but one of the things you can do is you can get your whatever you're going to paint totally wet, and then try to keep it wet and keep painting it and moving the paint until you get it exactly the way you want it. You did a bunch of ACEO, which is they're like 3x5, 2x3. That's the they're like artist trading card size. Fun stuff. They're small. They're like this big, right? But you haven't been brave enough yet to list. It does take a little bit of just saying, I'm doing it to do it and get it done. Let's see. This isn't quite dark enough for me on here. So I'm going to come in, I'm going to drop in a little bit of this Azo orange. So I'm going to try to stay away from any, this is going to be my brightest here. I don't want to, maybe I'll put in a little bit of this alizarin crimson. That'll lighten things up a little bit up on the top. Let's see. Yeah, that's definitely going to lighten things up there. Somebody here asked me if I do a practice of this before I go live, and I of course said no way. This is one of the times when I wish. I've painted leaves before. I don't have a problem painting leaves, but because I'm trying to do this multiple ways, I really do kind of wish I had some extra time this afternoon. I could have sat down to try this out. It's going to come out either way. I'm not going to worry about it. Actually, that's blending in real nicely here at that end out there. It's not exactly like our picture. Actually, we could take this right on around. It would be a lot closer if we did that. But that's starting to look really nice in there. Just like that. And I'm going to drop down to a smaller brush here. Way small brush. And I'm going to mix in, you know what, I'm not going to use, I was going to use this not ultramarine, why do I want to say ultramarine? Burnt umber. But I don't think I want to use that. I'm going to use some of this sepia. And I just want to put it right around a couple of these edges here. And if I get a little bit of this orange in there, I think that'll help to bring it all together. And of course, I can look in my reference photo and see if there are any little spots where I need to put in some browning through here. Actually, before I get too far into this, I've got a little bit of extra water here. I'm just going to go in with a really dry brush and get some of that out. I don't want it to pool. I don't mind a little extra, but I don't want it to pool. There we go, and right back in with my sepia. Okay, so your trading cards, fun stuff. But you're not quite ready to bite the bullet and put them up for sale. Let me share with you a little bit. I'm not always the most willing to go out there and put myself out on a limb and do all kinds of stuff because everybody watches, and it can be a bit daunting at times, to say the least. Right? You're giving a part of yourself, and you don't know how anybody else is going to accept it. And it's, from time to time, can be quite frightening. Well, if you're selling them online, well, you have two things working for you. One is it's online, and you don't actually have to see anybody that you're selling them to. Sometimes that's a good thing to think about. But two is, in my experience, I have met, not in person, but online, so many people that have been so willing, ready and willing to help me out, that even though when I've tried to do something, it's been completely frightening from time to time, I've gotten such support from artists in online communities that it made everything really nice, really welcoming and friendly and whatnot. There we go. This one has, I looked at the reference photo. This has a kind of a red stem here. I'm going to just put right on top of this a little bit of this azo orange, and this is drying nicely in here. I'm going to draw in fact, I'm going to get my liner brush for this. I'm going to draw in a few of these veins, really dry brushes, about as dry as I can get this. And I'm just going to draw in that's going to go everywhere. It's still pretty wet. I'm going to draw in a couple of veins here and there. And when I'm done, let's see if I can stick with my saying that I don't want to do anything extra with this. I might have put this on a little too wet. We might be coming back to do a little bit more. That happens. I can always grab it and pull it out while it's... That's kind of the cool thing. So when I was learning wet in wet, right, and you all know I'm not a super big wet in wet person, but when I was learning wet in wet, this was how I learned. You didn't just go and do one little bit and put wet paint over wet paint. You kept the whole thing, basically, your whole picture wet, and continued to go over it and over it and over it until you had it exactly like you wanted. And only then did you allow it to dry up. And for me, that was wet in wet. And quite honestly, more than a little daunting. So I'm going to employ a little bit of that technique here, as I have to go back over and back over a little bit here, because I reapplied that stem at not quite the right time. But it also helps to learn that you can make mistakes, right? Mistakes, whatever mistakes are. You can do it in maybe not the prescribed fashion. How about that? And get away with it. You'll learn how to fix it. There we go. Yeah, it's all better. I'm going to let that sit. You know what? This is really far away. Ooh, so let me pull it in a little bit, and I will try to do that. I'll try to keep it in the middle here. Just a little bit more. Yeah, that's too wet. I'm going to have to come back and do a little bit more in here. While this is wet, I'm just going to while I've got, okay, I'm gonna stop futzing with this one, and I'm gonna go over to this one, and this is the one where I'm gonna put on. I'll do this one and this one. I'll put on a wet coat here, and then we'll let it dry. And I'll put on a wet coat here because this should probably be dry by that point. And this one will draw in our stem and our veins, and this one will paint around the stem and the veins, and we'll see how these two differ. Now I have to figure out which one is which up there. I think this is the more red one, and this is the more green one. Oh, hello, Aileen. How are you this evening? And Aileen, you get a big thank you, too, for contributing to the coffee fund. Very much appreciated. Very much appreciated. This week, like last week, I ended up getting a headache. I had a headache yesterday. I'm going to, as I'm telling you the story, I am mixing in a little bit of extra Pyrrol red in here, and I'm going to get a nice soupy mixture. I'm not going to pre-wet this. I could have, or I could not. I have a hair. Got it. As long as I keep a really wet edge going here, I don't need to keep it or wet the whole thing first. And wetting it first does take quite a bit of time. But I am going to wet it in and treat it similarly to this one, in that I'm going to get it all wet and then start pushing the paint around to make it look like I want it to. And I'm not quite coming out. This brush, this is a Da Vinci brush. This is a sable brush. I know most of my brushes are natural hair brushes, and that's not really in vogue today's day and age, and I'm kind of okay with that. But for me, they hold such beautiful water, and they always come to a point, except for this brush. The rest of this set comes to a fantastic point. This one is a little bit more blunted than the rest. But I love the way that the paint comes off of these brushes. It feels nice in your hand. It looks good when it goes down. It sticks in the brush. It comes out of the brush when you want it to. That's just kind of how it goes. Okay, I'm going to start to darken up. I'm going to put in, woohoo, look at that, a few darker spots here and there. I don't want it to get too dark too quickly, though. I hope I'm still on camera. I think I've moved up a little bit, but moved up my desk a little bit, I should say it that way. There we go. There we go. Does anybody? I don't have any big store. Oh, I was telling you I have a headache today. Today it's been so. As many of you know, I live in California, and we have entered our fire season already this year. And in conjunction with fire season, it is wind season. It's funny how those two go hand in hand. Well, when the wind blows, oftentimes my head tries to tell me how little it likes me. And it tells me that by giving me a massive headache. Yesterday, had a nice big headache and was wondering what I was going to do today if it didn't go away. Thankfully, it went away. I'm just dropping in, a few colors here and there. I'm looking at I'm looking at this leaf right there, and it's got some of this green in here in a few places. And I'm going to drop that in just about like that. Not really much of any more. And I said that we were going to let this one dry and move on to our next one. But I don't want to have that tide line there. So I'm just going to cover that up. There we go. So there's that one. And now I'm going to move down to this one. It's too bad it doesn't go into my paintbrush doesn't go into that picture. It doesn't go over top of the picture. I'm going to go to this one here, which is much yellower, much greener. So I'm going to go back to I'm going to go to a little bit of Hansa yellow, and I'm going to mix that in the puddle that I've already got there. Let's see, fun stuff. You're exactly right. The good thing about nature is that you can paint whatever you want, and it's going to be right. Oh, you know what? Before I do this, I think it's too late already. Let me set this brush down real quickly before I go to the next bit. I forgot to do something, and that is I want to pull these points out. I think I may have missed my opportunity. I definitely did there. That one might be okay. Oh, you guys can't even see what I'm doing. I just want to enhance these points a little bit. My brush is a little dulled. The point on that bigger brush is a little dulled. So this is going to help with our leaf shape a little bit. If they're not there, if I don't get this in, you know what? It's really not a big deal. It really isn't. But if we can get it in and get these nice sharp points on there, so much the better. I don't want to go too much over that. Okay, I'm going to leave that like that. At least I've got my points on there now. And I'm going to get my brush back into here. Now I have to look at this one. Let's see. Oh, actually, if I hold it this way, if I keep it this way, it almost looks like the reference photo. It's in the right direction anyways. Now that's got quite a bit of ochre color in there. So let me get a little bit of that going, and I'm going to drop that in like that. And let's see, so this one, this one is just the regular way you would paint a leaf, one coat. We've got to draw in our stem, in our veins on this one. This one is going to be 2 coats, and we're going to draw in the veins on that one. And this one, I'm going to put in the first layer, and then the second layer we will paint around the veins. Okay, I'm just reminding myself what I have to look forward to here. Whoa, that's more than I wanted. That might not be quite as much as I wanted. There we go. I'm still using my cobalt green, which I have in this palette. I guess I could put a little phthalo green in there. Yeah, the olive green is probably a little dark. Now I'm going to stick with mostly my cobalt green. I have cobalt green in my palette because living in California in the desert-ish climate out here, it's a lot of the greens are very cobalt-ish. They're not a bright green like you would think of bright grass or bright leaves in the Midwest or upper Midwest, or really any place that you're going to get a lot of water. We don't get nearly enough, and so our greens, this is my theory, never quite get as bright as other places. So that's why I use the cobalt green so much. It's just not, it's more of a muted green to me. It's not nearly as bright or vibrant. Let me get a little bit more of that ochre in here. There we go. And maybe I'll put a little bit more green out here. There is some green. I should actually try to look up at that reference photo from time to time. I look up and now I see we have 16 people watching. It makes me so happy to see that people are taking interest and either like to see the colors painted, of fall colors, or like to watch watercolors being done, have some interest in watercolors at any rate. I'm quite certain none of you are joining me just to watch me. Yeah, that would be ridiculous. All right, I'm just playing with some colors here, trying to darken down this yellow. I don't want to put in a blue because blue would take my yellow to a green, and the blues I have are going to make not a green I like, unless I use the phthalo. But phthalo's so bright, I don't want to put that on top of this nice bright yellow that I have. Let's see, I'm going to put some green over here. Let that come up this way. Now I forget where I was going with that. Let's see, there's some more green here. Coming down here, I'm going to spread that around. Oh, Mrs. T is here. Welcome, Mrs. T. Thank you for joining us this evening. And Ian Leonard is here. Oh, Ian is here all the way from France. Holy cow. So, Ian, you have in your country, oh, now I'm not going to remember. There are a set of brushes that are made in France that I really want to get a hold of. I have not been able to find them sold. Leonardo, is that a brand of... is that a brand of brushes, French brushes? I don't know, they look fantastic. Ian, you'll have to, if you know, just let me know. And Reese says she's just browsing the art channel on Twitch and just dropped in. Those are gorgeous. Thank you, Reese. No, they're not Raphael's. No, those are fantastic brushes. Okay, let me pull this out just a little bit. Oop, let me get my mouse out of the way. Okay. I just want to touch this. This is not quite dry enough yet. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to come back to this first one. I'm going to get my rigger back out, and we're going to draw in our veins, and hopefully that one will have dried by the time we do that. And like I said, this one is kind of the standard kind of leaf that you would paint, or that somebody might paint. One layer really, and a few veins drawn in there. Something like that. I'm trying to keep my paint very thin. What are my favorite Kolansky brushes? Christina says. And Kathy says, Leonard. Yes, is Leonard, are those our brushes, right? I would swear. What are my favorite Kolansky brushes? I'm going to answer your question in just a second, and it's not going to be what you think it is. I can promise you that. And look at this once again. You will always be able to tell that this is mine because I've just put my put my arm in my paint. I always seem to do that. Let me get these veins on here, and I'm going to answer your question, Christina, about what my favorite Kolansky sable brushes are. Now, I will say this, though. Everybody, when you talk about brushes, everybody talks about Kolansky sable, Kolansky sable, Kolansky sable. I can see some called Leonard. Okay, fun stuff. You can see some called Leonard on Google. The ones I saw looked like they had gray hairs in them. They were crazy, but beautiful looking brushes. Really beautiful brushes. And but you know, with everything that looks like that, they were way expensive. Ian, you're famous. You have brushes named after you. That's great. That's great. Let's see. Okay, so here we go. There's my first one. That's kind of the traditional way that you would paint a leaf. Just done in one kind of fell swoop. And one layer. Everything else kind of drawn on there. Nothing wrong with it. It looks perfectly good. I'm going to wait for just a second on these two. These are still dry, and I'm going to talk about Kolinsky sable here. And he asked me what my favorite Kolinsky sable brushes are, and here they are. And I've used the little brothers of these before, and I've decided I bought this set. I'm going to use this set, but these are Rubloff brushes. And I bought one or two of these. I've got a whole slew of these things here. Wow, how many do I have? 00. Why do I have 2 00s? I've got I got 00s up to 6. It looks. Oh, I have 2 3s too. How did I? Oh, well, I bought a couple to test them out. Okay, so that's probably what it was. And then I bought the whole set. These are unbelievable brushes. I like these very much. In fact, I used these last night when I painted a different painting. I'm going to put those away. Those are my favorite Kolinsky sable, Kolinsky sable brushes. They're fantastic. However, if you read on, let's say, what's the guy's site, handprint.com, and he'll talk to you, or he has written, I can spit it out eventually. He has written about different brushes and different types of brushes. The Kolinsky ones are brushes that have graded out with different hairs that have a different quality, right? But they still have to be put together in a different way, they still have to be put together. So even though the hair quality is better than others, the build quality isn't necessarily any better. So these are sable. These are not Kolinsky sable. These are sable. I think these are fantastic brushes. And I used these for about a year before I switched to anything else, and I still go back to them from time. Well, I'm back to them right now, but I still go back to them from time to time because they're so good. But so anyway, the moral of the story is, don't necessarily just get hung up on the fact that they're Kolinsky. There are other, qualities that need to be taken into account. Kathy, you're falling asleep with your phone in your hand. Oh no! That's please go to sleep. Plug your phone in. Recharge it for tomorrow. Holy cow! I understand that it's 8 o'clock Pacific, and it's not always the easiest time for. Actually, Ian, how are you? What time is it in France? It must be way early or way late. You're 8 hours, 9 hours different. So it's way early in the morning probably for you. Mrs. T, how would I recommend cleaning my brushes? I will be honest, I don't do a whole lot of extra anything to clean my brushes. Let's see, I want to, hang on. As I'm doing this, I'm getting all carried away. I'm just coloring at this point. I'm going to get to your question in just a second about cleaning brushes. So bear with me, Mrs. T. But in here, I know I'm looking at my picture over here, and I've actually got a bigger picture of it over here. I've got some darkness I need to put in over here, so I'm going to dip into my maroon perylene, and I'm going to start putting in a bit of this darker, and I can see it. I don't know how the paint is going to pay attention to what I'm doing, and I don't know that I'm worried about it, but I'm going to paint around the lines that I have drawn underneath for the veins as I do this. Kind of like that. And I know that that's a bit of a darker spot there. Then I can come back over here and it lightens up a bit over here. And if I haven't dawdled around too much, I can get that tide line out. There we go. Okay, so how do I clean my brushes? After every use, I am diligent about rinsing them out. I have two waters on my table, one dirty and one clean, and I always have two waters on my table, one dirty and one clean. And I put my brushes, I clean my brushes in the dirty water, and then I clean my brushes in the clean water. And then I don't hang them up, but my desk is sloped from top to bottom at, I don't know what it is, 10 degrees, 15 degrees. It's somewhere in there. And I put my brushes this way, and they're on a little bit of a towel. And so any water that is in them, is left in them, is wicked out a little bit. And it's so dry here, normally, that the towel that they're on dries pretty quickly. And I just noticed after about 6 months, I'll grab them here in just a second. You know, I'd been using let me go to a little smaller brush here. I'd been using my silver black velvet brushes, right? You've all seen those. You've seen me use those quite a bit. And I just noticed that they are starting to get a little bit of schmutza, a little bit of something on them, and I don't like it. But they're getting on. It's getting on the hosel. You know, it's getting on this part here, and I'm going to have to give just a gentle cleaning with a bit of very, very light soap and water, and I didn't want to do that. All right, that'll a little too dry right there. I'll do that, it'll be fine. Okay, and now we have a little bit of modeling. You can see over there. Let's see, Ian says it's 5:30 a.m. You couldn't sleep. Wow, 5:30. Well, 5:30, I would just be getting up here, so that's not that bad. But anyways, welcome, Ian. I hope that you can't sleep another day next Wednesday, and you can join us again. No, I'm glad that you joined us, even though you can't sleep. Thank you for that. Okay, this one. So we're going to, let's see, I'm going to draw in my stem on this one first of all. I'm going to go from here up. There we go. And a little bit of this orange color down there. There we go. And we'll put a little shadow on that a little bit later, and that will be fine. So this one we're doing around all of the, let's see, I'm going to use this one. I don't know what style. This is one thing I don't like about these brushes is you can see that everything has worn off of them. It should look like this. It looks like that. I can't tell. I have a hard time telling what is what on here. So I'm going to mix up a little bit of my gamboge and a little bit of yellow ochre here. And I'm going to start with my yellow ochre, and I'm going to just paint right up to this line. And with any luck, I'll paint up to that line on the other side, and we will have a nice vein drawn in there for us automatically. And I want to lighten this as I come to the edge, so a little bit of this yellow, maybe a little bit of this Hansa yellow. Actually, I think the Hansa yellow and the Azo yellow are nearly identical. There we go. And while I'm in this area, I'm going to come back into my, I told you it was dry here, and the cloth that I have my paintbrushes on dries out very quickly. The paint on my palette dries out very quickly too. There we go. I'm gonna do that. Let's see. This is I use Master Brush Cleaner and Restore. I wash them about once a week. Wow. The swirl cleans it. The figure 8 cleans it out. I do kind of a circle. Oh, I was going to show you. Let's see. So here's one right here. Let's see if I can do this. Let me find a bit of a white spot and see if I can come in a little bit here. And I hope you can see. I don't know if you can. Maybe you can see a little better here. Can you see there's a bit of discoloration on the ferrule of these brushes? It's really glossy here, and about here it starts to get discolored, and it's really glossy here, and about here it starts to get discolored. And I think that is part of where I'm dipping in the water, but I can brush it off like this. I can just with my finger and it comes right off. But these need to get a little bit more of a cleaning on them than I have currently. Just a little bit, not a great deal. Look, I just grabbed one of those. This is a painting with my Da Vinci brushes. Here we go. So I will take and I will do an extra thorough kind of a cleaning on those. But I don't do any more than that. And I have not had any real problems with my brushes ever. And I'm painting 3, 4, 5 times a week. And like I said, maybe I should do more. I don't know. I haven't had issues that have forced me to do more cleaning my brushes. I don't leave them in the water. I don't leave them in any water. I don't, what am I trying to say? I don't allow them to stay wet. I don't put them in and leave them there and walk away. All my brushes that I use, I just pulled some of these out. I think I showed this last week, that are currently on my table are here. So these ones are all dry. These are the ones I showed at the beginning. The ones I've used are flipped over and turned down. Well, I guess these should be this way. Now they are. And you can see where they've touched here and gotten a little bit wet. But then that dries out right away, and I just haven't had issue with it. Maybe I need to thank my lucky stars that I haven't had any any issues with it. All right, I'm letting the colors on the first layer of this kind of guide me as to the colors I want to use on the second layer here. I think I need to drop down a brush. Here we go. There. Can you guys see? Did I go back out too far now, or do I need to do something different? I need more orange in here is what I need. There. That's better. Each time every night I do this, I try to pick out pictures that I think I can easily paint in an hour. I can do this in an hour. It's just going to be easy. And boy, every time I look up, it's like the whole hour's gone already. Now the green for me is a bit of an issue because I'm using cobalt green, which I said is great for the desert life and whatnot that's out here. What it does though is it's very granulating, and so I get all of the separation like you see in there. I think it's kind of neat. Not everybody does. But if you see that and you're wondering why it looks kind of goofy, that's why, because it's kind of all getting separated out right there. There we go. Let's see. Let's see. It's on degree. I think the biggest killer of a brush is trying to scrub off color. Yeah, I don't scrub off too much color. Fingers crossed. I'm going to start scrubbing color right now, I can tell. That's probably true because you put so much. I mean, it's not really a lot of force, but in comparison to the poor bristles, what the poor bristles are designed to do, it probably is a ton of force that gets put on those little bristles and rubbing them back and forth and back and forth. Holy cow. I just won't do that anymore. If that is the case, I'm just not going to do it. Everything will be fine. There we go. Just way up to the corner on that. I could if I weren't talking. If I weren't talking though, this would be a much less interesting. Well, I don't know. Hang on. Before I say that, it might be a more interesting video. Got this weird guy keeps jabbering away about all kinds of stuff. So I hope you can see on this one. I think I cheated one vein here. That'll be all right. It's okay. I think you can see how the veins on this one stand out quite a bit differently than the veins on that one. Just that allowing the color back there to shine through, to be that the vein, the first layer of color to shine through to be that vein, really gives a whole different look to the painting that you're doing. You know, your leaf is totally has a whole different vibe to it. It's not better or worse. It's just different. And I'm trying to, I don't know if anybody can notice, I'm trying to pick up the pace a little bit and maybe stop jibber-jabbering quite so much. And says, hi, Micah, you're still on. Yes. Yes, and I'm still on. Yes, it seems that when I get onto a live stream, one of two things happen. Either I can't paint quickly or I can't keep my mouth shut. And that causes me to paint slowly. I don't know which it is, one of the two, maybe a little bit of both. Yes, I'm still on. Welcome. If you want to stay and watch a little bit, please feel free. I'd love to have you around. I'm just trying to figure out how to paint some veins on a few leaves here. I'm going to go right back down into here. And this is almost straight. You know, and I'm going to, as I say, it's almost straight azo orange. I'm going to mix a little bit of, I got to mix a little bit here too. A little bit of this yellow ochre to dull that down, because down in that other area I've got some of this yellow ochre. I don't know if I have time to do this fourth. I should have just done one leaf. I don't know. We'll see how we can get through all these. I'll kind of try and pick up the pace a little bit. I can't speed through too much if I'm trying to talk about what I'm doing. Maybe if I could talk and paint at the same time, it would be better. There we go. Got a bit of that brown. And if I got a little bit of brown on one side of that vein, I want to put just a little bit of that brown on the other side of that vein. There we go. And I think you guys can see how they look a little different. I don't think they look bad. They're just different. I shouldn't say stuff like that. I don't think they look bad, which somebody's going to think that I don't think they look good either, because that's not a confirmative statement. If that's a word, I don't know if that's a word. I just made it up. Maybe I just made it up. But I like a lot of times I really like doing veins on botanicals this way. It just gives such a different look to it. I certainly don't want to be negative about it in any way, shape, or form. I will say the one bit of it that is difficult is getting a consistent vein in there. When you're drawing it on this way, it's pretty easy. You don't have too much to worry about, because you can fall back on the width of your paintbrush. You can always just get a smaller paintbrush and put it in there, and whatever that width is, well, that's going to work for you for that vein, whatever it is, right? This way, this is a much more active way to do this. You've got to be much more prepared to spend a little time and draw these in properly. So there we go. We're getting this one in there. But when you do this, you can see you can get some really kind of crazy things going on around those veins as you do it. I'm going to let that one go right on around there. And right on up, and a little bit of yellow over here. More yellow on the other side. Now, I would normally kind of be a stickler for light next to dark, right? I don't want anything, I don't want light next to dark so that it's hard to see either of these two objects. I don't have this right. I don't have it positioned right for me here. But in this case, even though I don't have a wide difference in the color values, the color intensities here, one thing that's really going to help us is the shape. Right? You can't look at this and not know where one shape is starting and the next shape is ending. So that should really help us out there. I haven't looked up in a little bit. Is it just me? Let's see. Oh, wow, these are so cool. Oh no. Is anybody else? I hope nobody else's feed is stuck. Ange's feed is stuck. I don't like that. I haven't seen any problems with the feed on my end this evening. Let me knock on some wood there. Now, as soon as I do that, the whole thing is going to crash and burn. Christina, the negative painted veins are so much better. They're really cool. Even if you don't get them exactly right in here, there's so many times, you know, your eye doesn't necessarily pick that up. Your eye picks up what it wants to pick up. And it'll just pick up the lights in there. And you won't see necessarily that, one vein here's, whoa, a little thicker, and one vein there is a little thinner. And it's really cool. Oh, I didn't put a vein here. Well, I'm not going to worry about that. I didn't put a vein there, but maybe I didn't have one drawn there. I'm going to put a little color here where those veins come in. And then I'm going to mix up a little bit of ochre and a little bit of the sepia for this one. Come on. And I just want to touch this right in here to let this spread out a little bit. There we go. Oh, I'm totally happy with that. I like that. Totally happy with that. All right, I think that one looks cool. I love how this comes up over here. Now, before we go on to this third one, which is going to be crazy, I'm going to draw our veins in our second one here. Okay. Let's see how we can do this. I'm going to start from inside the stem and turn as soon as I get in. And I don't want to do these just completely straight. So I give it a little turn like that. Even that little bit And we immediately get a little bit of extra, not motion. Motion really isn't the right word. But it's a little bit of extra life and movement to the leaf. It's not just a flat leaf that somebody has pressed in a book. It's a leaf that shows a little bit of life to it. Let's see, we got one coming over here and over here. I don't know, we can give another one there. I don't know. It's gotten a bit dark for my painting. Let's see, I don't want to go over top of that one. I want one of these in here. I don't know, I'm going to call that good on that one. So we've got one coat, two coats with negative painted veins, and they all look totally different, but interesting in their own way. Ange has been thinking about doing something like this. That's cool. Do it. It's fun. Okay. Now this one. Okay, this one we're gonna have some fun with. I'm gonna try and do this one, the base of this one quick. I'm gonna grab. This is my Danube Artist Quill brush, and you guys have never seen me use this before. And this is one of the things I don't like about synthetic brushes. And I'm gonna zoom this down, and let's see if you can see this. As I turn this, well, maybe you can't see it that way. As I turn this, maybe you can see there's a little tiny hook right on the end, right there. And that is my biggest pet peeve with synthetic brushes, is I've got so many brushes and they work so well for a week or 2 weeks or, you know, a little while, and I don't abuse my brushes. Maybe as per the previous conversation, maybe I don't wash them exactly like I should, although I don't know that I don't wash them, but they are rinsed thoroughly all the time. But it seems like so often I'll buy a synthetic brush and that top will curl over, and it's maddening, and I don't really know what to do about that. And these were not cheap brushes. Let's see, where can I set my hand? So I've just decided I will use these, but I can't use them to get anywhere even near a point, because my point has curled over. So that's just kind of how it has turned out. Unless anybody out there, yes, the dreaded hooked tip. Unless anybody else has a solution to that, because I don't, and it's frustrating. There we go, and I think I put this on fairly light, and so what I'm going to do now is this one's got all these beautiful oranges and reds and everything in it. Yeah, this side over here is almost dry even as we speak. Let's see, if I stall for a moment longer, I can get a little bit of orangey red in this stem, and everything will have dried by the time I get to the leaf itself. I remember these are big oak leaves. I remember growing up, and we had oak, or I'm sorry, these are maple leaves. We had giant oak trees and giant maple trees all around my house when I was growing up. Oh man, in the fall was it? Well, no, I should say the fall was both great and it was horrible because the colors were wonderful, but it always meant that the leaves fell and somebody, namely me, had to pick them all up. Dana says, I bought a brush like you're using now. I really don't like it. The tip hooks, right? And as a beginner, it's hard to use. As a non-beginner, it's hard to use. It's so frustrating. I actually had one of these, and I got so frustrated, I got my toenail clippers out and clipped that little hook off of there on one set. I didn't do it on this one, but because this set was, these ones were much more expensive, and I just couldn't justify doing it. So I'm trying. I'm on the hunt to find a way to solve that issue. I don't know, it's maddening. So this one, like I said before, we're going to do in little areas, and we're going to do a little bit, and this is how I would paint typically. You've seen me. I do a little bit and I blend it out. I do a little bit and I blend it out. I do a little bit and I blend it out. And you know, I suppose it's good and bad. I went over part of that. I went over part of this vein, but it's going to be okay. It's good and bad because, you know, you have a lot of control over what you want to do. And if you want to darken one area while you're looking at it, while it's on your mind, you can go ahead and do that while you're doing this. If I want to put in a little bit of brown right in here, I can charge it in while I'm doing that. If I want to charge in a little bit of green, you know, I can do that, and then I can come back and I can re-strengthen things. And it's a wonderful way to do it. But there is a but. There always is a caveat. You've got to be really careful because you're going to be going over this time and time again, that you don't go too heavy because it will get cloudy, and you have to go lightly, or it's going to start to look worked, and you don't necessarily want it to look like it's been worked and worked and worked. You want it to flow really nicely, and that usually means, as Bob Ross would say, 2 hairs and some air, and just let it gently go over that. Every single synthetic Christina you have bought, you've eventually gotten the hook. Yes, it's maddening. It's so frustrating. I don't know. I don't know. Is there some price level that stops happening? Is there some manufacturer that doesn't happen to? I don't know. It is super frustrating. Okay, I'm gonna blend this out like that. And when you're doing this, you can look in, like I said, you can look in and go, oh, I'm gonna have a shadow right here, and you can pre-place some of this and let it go out on its own. Let the watercolors work for you in some areas. Of course, being watercolors, they will try to work against you in some areas. That's okay too. See, now I thought when I thought about doing this, I thought this was, you guys are going to hate to hear this, I thought this was the one that I was going to be spending all of my time on. I went, man, I'll be able to whip right through these first three. This leaf over here, this fourth one, that's going to take all the time. So what I'm saying is you better buckle in because no, we're going to see how it's going to go. I'm going to try to pick up the pace here a little bit. And I don't know, maybe I was thinking I could do, because I'm doing each layer a lot lighter, I'll be able to go back over. So maybe we'll see how it goes. Maybe I'll do, like this initial kind of blended graded wash like this on, half of it or part of it, and come back and finish up the other half, something like that. And we'll see how it goes. I don't want to keep everybody up until midnight. Ian, unless you have work in the morning, I guess you can hang around and we'll go all night. Because for you, it's only getting earlier in the morning. It's getting lighter over there as we speak. I'm going to look up. I know you guys said something up there. I'm going to check it out in just a second here. Give me one tiny. There we go. I have good luck with silver black velvet. Yes, those are these ones. Where are they? Now I've put them too far out of my thing. These ones I do like these. I will say these have been the best ones, but they're part squirrel. These are part squirrel, part something else, and they're made a little differently. Not quite like I said. They have the bristles kind of on backwards, if that makes sense. When you look at a normal brush, you look at this brush, the longest bristles are way on the outside. You have long bristles on the inside too, but you have long bristles on the outside, and they go all the way up over the tip. On the black velvets, they don't. Maybe it's not that they're inside out, but they're definitely a bit different. Oh, wait, maybe one of the, I don't know, I have some brushes. Fun stuff. I just tried the trick, helped about 60%. Wait, did I miss a trick? Fun stuff. What did you say? I missed something. Ian, that's great to know you're in for the long haul. I might be here for a while too, so I hope you're enjoying it. Let's get a little bit of, I should say, if you're painting in this style also, boy, it really helps if you've got some transparent watercolors. It really does, because the minute you put on, this would be a good example over here. Let me show it over here. This is also why I didn't do anything with my, burnt umber right now. But you can't do this method that I do often, right? Put it on and blend it out, and put it on and blend it out, because the yellow ochre is not fully transparent, and if you put it on layer 1, you will always end up with something that is much more gouache than it is watercolory, if that is a way to say that. And the same goes with the burnt umber. It's much more gouache. It's much less transparent. And so you're always going to end up with something that is, so much more opaque. And maybe you don't want that. I put it on here, but I think, I don't know if I put it on the first layer or not. If you get it really thin, sometimes you can get away with it. But it's in lots of applications like this, it's top layer only. There we go. That's starting to look like a leaf. Let's see. Ian and my brothers are retired, and they say every day is Saturday. There you go. That's great. Oh, if your hooked tip is a synthetic brush, you can try dipping it in boiling water, remove it immediately, and reshape it. Oh. And see, now we're getting somewhere. But that leaves me with one question. If you put it in that boiling water, and it does reshape it, will it lose its shape again? Or how quickly will it lose its shape the next time? There we go. I just put a little bit of my, not azo yellow, Hansa yellow in here. I did try a trick. I'll show you here in just a second. I read, and I couldn't even tell you where because off the top of my head right now I don't remember where. But I did see how to fix your natural hair brushes that don't point up very well. And maybe I shouldn't show it, but it was, you've got to get some type of gelatin or glue, something obviously water soluble, not Gorilla Glue by any stretch, not super glue, and re-glue your bristles like you got it when it was brand new. You can use Jello, you can use, that'll harden up and hold it in place, or not Jello, but gelatin, maybe thicker than the Jello you have in your fridge. I used some of my kids' glue just because I wanted to see. And fun stuff, I think it was you that asked me, I did 5 of my Mimic Kolinsky brushes, and I just read that gum arabic can be used on natural gum arabic to try and reset the bristles, but gum arabic doesn't, ooh, that's brown, I don't want that, doesn't dry hard enough, does it? I used some of my kids' glue, and I'm curious to see. I got to let it sit for about a week, and it should retrain those bristles. I'll show it to you in just a second. I know I said I'm going to hurry, and then I'm talking about showing you other stuff. I think everybody who's still here is probably okay with that. All right, there's that, and here's my brush, and look, I reset it to it's a fantastically sharp point there. It feels exactly like I got it originally. I'm going to get it wet in, like I said, a couple of days and see how it goes. I'll let you know if that is going to work or not. If it doesn't, then I suppose it's no worse for the wear, because I know that glue, it's a really light, a really light coating of the glue, my kids' school glue that I used, because the brush didn't work as it was. So we'll see. Get a little bit more of this gamboge in here. And anyway, you can see as I'm doing this, even just this little bit, you can see how the effect of doing one bit here, one bit there. I'm going to take this all the way up there. That's kind of how I have it drawn. I'm not sure why. Really has a different effect on the way this looks. There we go. I hope you guys can see this. I'm always, I look up, and the first thing I look at is the video window, because I know that in a number of my videos, I'll start painting and this is moved over, and all of a sudden you can't see what I'm doing. And so I'm always a little insecure about where I'm at in the painting, and I try not to get my head in anything. That's bad enough as it is. Man, maybe I should have just done this leaf. Boy, the other painting I was going to do, I had another leaf that I was going to do, or another set of leaves. It was like 5 leaves across a string, like it was like a garland of leaves, I guess you would say. Well, that would have been 5. That would have been even more. Would have been devastating. So long. There we go. I'm just going to do that, and I think we've got the first layer of that done. Okay, and I actually think it looks like a nice leaf just like that. I've got the negatively painted veins in there. So now you can come in. You've got it all there already. Got some nice color on it. We can change the colors up a little bit if you want to, but you can come in and you can say, that's woohoo, strong, strong, strong. Come on. And we can say, okay, so the light's coming from this way. Everything on this side of the vein needs to be just a little darker. And then we can put that on. Right? And maybe it blends out, or maybe there's a little, I don't know how this green will do in it. If I don't blend it too much, it'll be fine. If I blend it too much, it'll be gray. But right down there, and if we got that one, then we got to put a little bit of a shadow in this one. And we'll just build these up a little at a time, a little at a time. And with any luck, before long, we have something that looks exactly like we want it to. right? And so I'm just putting a little color down, rinsing my brush, dabbing it off. I don't want all that much moisture on here. A little bit of moisture. Right on like that. And you can see, there we go. You can see we can get some color. And then on the next layer, we can come back and we can fill in here. I don't want to touch it right now because it's wet. But if you want one of these to be a bit more orange, we can make, I don't know, this one here just a bit oranger. More oranger. There we go. And draw this one out so far as we want. And as long as we don't monkey with it, it's going to be darkest right up on the underside of that vein. There we go. And if we need to darken that up over there, we can do that too. You know, to really make that stand out. Shoot. I always say, I like when you guys talk. And then it gets late like this, and I always feel badly because I'm jabbering away, trying to get this finished, and I look up and holy cow, it's all you guys have said all kinds of stuff up there. I guess you didn't say that much. You're still talking about the brushes, which I get. Brushes are a constant frustration for everybody, I think. I don't understand why brushes are so... I understand why they're so individual, right? I totally get that. Why somebody likes one brush over another brush. I get it. I totally get. What I don't get is why when somebody makes a brush, you know, why is it going to get the hook tip? Why are the bristles going to splay out? Why don't they come to a good point? Why? You know, I don't get all that stuff. I totally get the feel of the brush. I get the look of the brush. We all have different tastes in that. I'm with everybody on that one, but it wouldn't it be nice if there were some brush qualities that just didn't change at all. And I'm just dropping, I'm dropping in a little bit of my green in here. You know, maybe this side of the leaf stayed in sun a little bit longer, or maybe stayed out of the sun a little bit longer. There we go. Let's do that. We should be taking a little bit more time and God, I can't talk. Should be taking a little bit more time and doing thin layers on this one. Thin layers, 2, 3, 4 layers inside of each of these. And if we do, you know, thin, light layers like that, this leaf is going to glow with all of the undercolors. And we're going to be able to make it look like exactly what we want to. Well, that dried really quickly out on the end out there. We're going to put a little orange here in the middle of this one. And then back to some of the sepia color right back over here. And these are actually quite, you know, they're a lot of fun to do. Didn't Lala say she was thinking about doing these? I would say do it. These are a kick because you can have fun with the colors. And it doesn't matter if you're, quote, right or wrong with your colors, because there is no right and wrong in the fall colors. There are just colors, and they're fun to paint. I'm gonna make this one. We're gonna be done with this one pretty quickly. I'm gonna speed this up. Let's see. A cat's tongue is on my list. Okay, I gotta look to see what you guys are talking about here. You guys are carrying on without me, which is great. I love that all you guys have come together, and it's kind of like a community here, and everybody's helping each other out. Fun stuff is, I'd like a dagger brush. Christina, you're married to your rounds. I'm kind of married to my rounds also. I don't often use, from time to time I'll use a flat, but not that often. My rounds I use for everything. I have a cat's tongue of oval wash. I think they're called, right? An oval wash brush. And I don't ever use, I have two actually. I found one yesterday when I was digging through some old brushes, because I want to, for my Christmas cards, I want to, or I need to, for what I'm planning, is I need to use some masking fluid, which is another thing I don't normally do. So I got a big basket of old brushes that I haven't given away yet, and I haven't used in a long time. And I found an old cat's tongue brush in there. Like, wow, I didn't even realize I had that one in there. But in there it was. Let's see, this one's looking okay. Let's see, Lindsay, the Frugal Crafter uses the same ones on her, so does Sharon Cullen. So I'll be out for a while. Wait. Which cat's tongue does Lindsay use, the Frugal Crafter? I used to watch her channel, but I will admit I haven't seen her in a while. But she's got some really good videos out there. She's good. But she does this for a well, she does. Cat's tongues are way smaller than oval wash. Let's see. What is this one? That's a filbert here. No. Okay. I was going to grab my cat's tongue brush. I can't find it. I don't want that color. So what you're saying is I'm wrong. Cat's tongues and oval washes aren't quite exactly the same thing. I can live with that. I could totally live with that. I'm just going to keep painting. You guys carry on. No. The velvet. Oh, wait, the velvet touch or the silver black velvet? The velvet touch. There we go. I'm trying to speed through this. Does Lindsay doesn't use the silver ones, does she? She used to use Royal Langnickel brushes, the aqua something brushes. I don't know. I've spoken to her before. I haven't talked to her, messaged her, anything in years. I do remember when she was a much smaller YouTube channel. Now she's gotten so big, and rightfully so. I don't want to say anything like that. She's, like I said, very good. All right. I'm not going to do too much more here. I do want to do a bit of, I've got this extra color on here now, and I want to do just a bit of shading, and then I'm going to be done with this one. Maybe knock this down a little, some of this veins down just a little bit. I'm going to put a little bit of green over here and over here. Where's my green? And I don't know if you can hear it. My neighbor's cat just jumped on the roof. Always sounds like something's coming right through the roof when the cat does that. Okay. Mrs. T, Michael, you're doing just fine. Oh, Lindsay likes the Mimic Squirrel by Creative Mark. Oh, interesting. That's okay. The Mimic Squirrel. I don't even know. I haven't seen Mimic brushes in a long time. I'll have to look to see them. I really have not seen Mimic brushes in a long time, but they're by Creative Mark. Oh yeah, Creative Mark. They make lots and lots of brushes. Lots of brushes. All right, so now I've got all the color I want, all of the, right, everything should shine through the color the way I want it to. I'm going to drop in some darks here and there. Whoop, trying not to do it where it's still too wet, just to try and make this pop off the page a little bit extra. And like I said, I promise this won't take too much longer. I'm at, oh my Lord, I'm at an hour and 50 minutes. Holy cow. And it flew by. I don't know how you guys felt about it, but for me, it seems like about a half an hour. I don't know how that happens. It just goes by so fast. Thank you, Connie. If you've been here the whole time, thank you for hanging around. I know it's running. I feel like I say this every week. It's running a little longer than I wanted to. I didn't realize it was going to go this long, but thank you, and thank you for hanging around. The last one is this last one is my favorite too. I like this way of painting. You put a little bit on, you judge, is it right? You move it around a little bit, you get it how you want, and then you go with it. These other styles can really be cool, right? And you can make some fantastic art in these other styles. But man, when you do a little bit here and a little bit there, and you blend it out just the way you want, and you don't go too heavy with the color. So now I can come back. So now I've got this. Come on. So now I've got this like shadowing underneath here. If I want to, I can go back and I can take, if I needed to take some of that out, I could take some of that out. If I needed to make some on the other side, I can put some in on the other side. If I need to make it closer to that vein, right, because I didn't paint in a straight line, then I can do that. That's pretty easy. If I want to, you have so much control over it when you're doing it this way. Really, the sky's the limit for how you can paint things this way. And it's just, you put a little bit of dark on and blend it out. And if you want to put some light on the other side, I mean, we don't put light on, but if you wanted to put some color on the other side to make it stand out just as much, well, put some color on there. If you want some in the middle here, maybe there's a little low spot in the center of the leaf there, or in the center of that section. Well, you know what? Look, you just put it on and blend it out like that, and all of a sudden there's a bit of a low spot. So there's so much we can do with it this way. It's just such a fun way to do it. Plus, I get to do all the blending, all the blending that I like to do, which makes me so happy. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I don't like to do that. Anyways, okay, so if I keep going, I'm going to futz and fiddle with it and do a lot more. I'm going to do the thing I did for the other ones. I'm going to take my dark color, maybe a little bit of sepia, put it in my red. I don't know if I need it quite that dark, but I'm just going to come and tighten up a couple of these tips of these little bits here, right? They've dried out a little bit. They're a little harder, a little browner than everything else. I don't want to make it too different of a color, which is why I'm using, the red and that sepia. But it needs a little something here. And you can put that on, and even if you don't blend that in, it still is going to look right, because a lot of the time you'll get those little dots on the end of all those leaves just like that, and it will look natural regardless of what you do with it. There we go. I'm going to do I know I'm going to leave it. I'm about to say I'm going to leave it just like that, and then I don't. Okay, I'm going to leave it just like that. That's what I've got for you this evening. Let me get it in the center. So 4 different ways of painting some fall leaves. The really basic way, 1 layer wash, kind of a little wet and wet here to mix the colors, let them flow, and then draw on the veins in the stem. This one here, this is 2 layers of paint, so we can get a little bit more value change in here, a little lighter in some areas, a little darker in some areas, but again, the veins drawn on and the stem drawn on. This one, a little bit more of a fun way to do, 2 layers still, but we painted around the veins, did a little bit of negative painting on those. A fun way to do it, very kind of, you can see this looks much more stylized, I guess you could say, of a way to do it. You could still make this look fantastic. This would look great in many, many applications. And then this way, where you're doing a little bit at a time, a little bit here, a little bit there, and a little bit here, and a little bit there, and you have so much control. And look at the depth, right? I didn't spend all that much more time doing this one than I did doing either of these, and look at how this looks. It just looks, it pops off the page there. So that's what I've got for you tonight. Where are we at? It is Oh my Lord, almost 2 straight hours. Thank you all for stopping by. Let me raise that up just a little bit. Be back next Wednesday. I think next Wednesday will be next Wednesday is the day before Halloween. I'm not sure what day my kids go out trick or treating, so I'll find out. And if I do have a stream, it might be the last day of fall, and then we're going to move into holiday stuff, Thanksgiving and Christmas stuff right away. I've got the Christmas card for this year that I've just about done. I am doing a few practices of that one, so we'll have that one. Don't forget the website. I've got some stuff there. I see some people leaving. Good night, good night, good night. Thank you all for joining me. Instagram and Twitter links down below if you have an interest in following on social media. Also down below is my Etsy shop. I've got a few things for sale there. I need to get a few more things up for sale. I've got the beer fund, the coffee fund on my website. If you so would like to donate to that, it would be much appreciated. And if you want a shirt, that has a beta fish on it, or some of the other things I have, they're there. I've got a new video coming out on Friday. Anything other than that, I don't know about. So have a great night. Have a great week. We'll see you back here with any luck next Wednesday. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.